I'm Reid, editor of the Edison Report, and with John, we'll be moderating this discussion.
I'm John Bachner, the Executive Director of the National Lighting Bureau.
Hi, I'm Howard Lewis, Chair of the National Lighting Bureau. I'm here representing the Illuminating Engineering Society, and I also am with a company called Visioneering.
Hi, I'm Jay Goodman. I'm the founder of Lumen Optics, and I'm excited to be here.
My name is Beth Gotti. I'm manager of the GE Lighting Institute.
Hi, I'm Charlie Occhino. I'm president of EdisonReport, a lighting management company out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I am representing the International Association of Lighting Management Companies.
Hi, I'm Mark Lien, and I'm the Director of Government and Industry Relations for Osram Sylvain.
I'm Terry McGowan. I have my own business called Lighting Ideas Incorporated, a lighting consultant, and I'll be representing the International Dark Sky Association today.
I'm Jim Yorgy, and I'm with Neutron Electronics, and we're glad to host the NLB and Edison Reports here.
One of the problems that has existed for a number of years, especially with our mission, which is to call the many benefits of lighting to the attention of those who make decisions about it, has been people who have a strong financial focus. And if you cannot show that the new lighting is going to save a certain amount of money to achieve an ROI in a certain period of time, you're not going to get the new lighting. So you're talking about this shift to the benefit aspect. How are we going to overcome the dollar aspect?
I'd like to take a stab at that one. And you know, you want to quantify benefits. Certainly, it's a great sales tool. It's a great way to make decisions. You know, but at some point in this competitive arena that we all work in and live in, you know, trying to establish yourself as a leader in healthcare, for example, and being able to say, I can really give the patient more control over the environment. I can create healthier lighting, healthier air. You know, the fact is that they become selling points. So are they more expensive to install? Yes. Can they provide benefits and marketing communication advantages? Absolutely.
I'd like to add to that. One of the things that we've seen different in the field as far as the new lighting system, LEDs, sometimes the economics goes out of the window. It's a very emotional purchase. People have a sense that LEDs are just indestructible. You know, they think that the little green LED they see on the television never dies. So their concept is this lighting system is going to give me what I want. It's never going to die, and they just want it. You know, we find ourselves more in the position of educating the user and say, oh, hold on here a second, okay? And so we try to tell them, you know, what's available out there, some of the things to look for. So in the 40 plus years that I've been in the industry, this is the first new lighting source, you know, where the customer comes to you and say, what is it? Give it to me, okay? So I see that as a shift.
There's one other driver here as well, and that's government agencies. So the Department of Energy has a vested interest in seeing that LEDs are accepted by the public. That means that the low quality product has to be weeded out so that the consumer experience is good. So the DOE's been focused on quality product, sometimes to the exclusion of the efficiency being the chief driver. And we see this in the California Energy Commission right now, too. In January, on January 1st, Title 24 is going to mandate more high-efficiency lighting. 50% of a kitchen, for example, and in all the other areas in a residential home have been determined to need a certain level of high-efficiency lighting to meet the code. Now, high-efficiency, as its criteria, is 90 CRI. Now, that's emphasizing quality, and in the case of LEDs, that's emphasizing quality over efficiency, because a 90 CRI LED product is, by its nature, going to be somewhat less efficient than an 80 CRI, for example. And we see this also in some of the programs that are used to service the utilities for rebates and incentives. So if we look at the Designers Lighting Consortium, for example, they put requirements on CRI so that we keep the quality level high. Energy Star puts requirements on it. And the new LED lamp quality spec that also takes effect in California January 1st requires that any utility that gets an incentive or a rebate or gives one to their customer has to have a minimum 90 CRI on their LED replacement lamps.
And do you see that trend going across the country as a lot of the California efficiency trends have done?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you see these in California. There's any number of them we can point to that are coming up in January that will be adopted over the next few years into the ASHRAE and the IECC codes.
Terry?
That's an important issue, and I think the point that John mentioned about ROI, yeah, that's still important. There's still going to be a lot of lighting that is evaluated on a dollar and cents basis, but I work very closely with the residential lighting industry through the American Lighting Association, and hardly any lighting fixtures are based upon ROI in a residential application. It's how they look, its appearance, its function. And so you can't put dollars and cents on that. And here's a big segment of the industry. That's why I really like the idea that the National Lighting Bureau picked up on a few years ago to talk about high benefit lighting, because benefits go beyond dollars and cents, and they go into some of these other functions that have a value, but we don't know how to put a dollar and cents number on it.
Please, Howard.
Getting back to facilities and healthcare, hospitals and things that would be like, where lighting is critical, industrial environments and so forth. One of the things that we're going to find is that the facilities managers themselves need to be educated, because we have to also talk about the life of the LED and what's perceived to be the life of the LED. Because if you remember the old days of mercury vapor, where the lamp was on and everybody thought they had light and it would just be on forever, and the person that was working in the space didn't realize how low the light levels were, because again, it's day in, day out, day in, day out. And so we have to make sure that these people are educated. And again, there are new monitoring systems that are coming on board to be able to monitor the actual light levels and so forth. Because again, as we get into these 50,000, 100,000 hour scenarios, and you're in a critical lighting area, that's something I really think needs to be addressed, and the facilities managers need to be aware of what's happening in their own environments.
Do you ever foresee a kill switch in a fixture if it drops below L70, that the fixture would actually just turn off, so now maintenance knows it needs to
Legally,
be
I don't think
replaced?
that could ever happen.
Well,
But
it can, and it won't come that way. It won't come necessarily from maintenance, but there is already now a proposal to change the way we protect lighting fixtures, and it's particularly applicable to LEDs, because they're going to have electronics in there anyway. And that is to put in electronic devices rather than the typical thermal devices or fuses, so that if the lighting fixture is operating out of spec, let's say it's drawing too much current because of some kind of a fault, the lighting fixture doesn't necessarily go off, but it signals that it's in trouble, or it cuts back on the output, or some other kind of visual way to let you know that there is something going on. So it's a different way of looking at protection than we've had traditionally.
aren't there ways to actually overdrive the LED itself as the fixture is degrading, so that
Yes.
until it's actually maintained? Again, a signal goes off,
Yep.
they know the fixture needs to be taken care of, but again, it still maintains its light level. Obviously, it's going to be very inefficient, but up until the time when it can actually be addressed, this technology is here.
And it's the evolution of solid state.
Right,
Because
right.
now the LED becomes integrated into a board that can do everything you're talking about, and you're talking about more, because software will come into play here as well. And the software will prompt you that that fixture has reached its end of life because it's burned for a certain period of time.
So let's take that issue. So Charlie, you now get the phone call, or one of your guys gets a phone call that the fixture is in trouble. And it's a bit of a unique fixture, and it's 2 hours away. What's going to happen?
Well, that's, I think, what is lacking in the industry right now. There's no thought given to maintenance. Everything is, it's the fixture, the efficiency, ROI, if it comes into play. You may talk about voided maintenance, but the reality is, once you put an LED system inside here, given the rapid change that we have in the system, in the lighting industry, for lighting fixtures design, 6 months down the line, or even a year down the line, I dare say those components are no longer available. Now the end user has to decide what to do. I mean, if I got a unique fixture designed a certain way, and I got 300 in a location, do I replace one that looks different? Can I go in and get components? Are the components still available? And to your point, let's move this outdoor. So I got a fixture on a 40-foot pole. It's there 2 years. Something happens to it. It's not working. The fixture has to be replaced. Can't get a replacement fixture. Not alone the fact, first I have to drive 2 hours, use a piece of aerial equipment to get up there, determine what's wrong. And then what? I come down, call the manufacturer. So and from a maintenance standpoint, what we're lacking is what we have in lighting systems now. We replace components. If if I got a fixture that's working and it's a lamp, I can get a lamp. I have 3 major manufacturers plus maybe 50 others in China that can get a lamp from. Okay, and I have the
And
same-
locally, you can get it locally
I
from your
carry it in the
distributor.
vehicle.
Okay.
Okay, so it's an immediate replacement. It's a lamp, a ballast, or a socket. That fixture, when I leave there, that fixture is operational. This is not the case with the LEDs.
Don't you envision the day when you can have some sort of centralized system that'll tell you this is how much light this thing is putting out, you got to fix it, or something is wrong with this, and here's what it is? Because isn't that really the heart and soul of these electronics, and just doing it over the internet?
Absolutely. I absolutely feel that this is where the industry is going. I mean, we look at, what's the function of lighting maintenance, lighting management company. We are actually going to be more into remote managing a lighting system. The technology is there. There's some costs associated to that, and that's because production may not be there. But ultimately, I see my people sitting in front of a console and getting an exception report each morning. This fixture, something that's happened with this, and getting it enough ahead of time where we can react.
Jim?
Yeah.
Then we'll come back to you.
And a couple things there. One, we have the systems today that can do the reporting. In this building, if a lamp goes out, I can get a text message on my cell phone or smartphone that tells me there's a lamp out and where and that sort of thing. But you're right, those systems, you find those in the big new construction projects. It's not something that's affordable on your average size, small, medium project. But that will happen as we develop these systems, because it does require time and effort to commission the systems to make them able to do that type of thing. NEMA has developed a number of solid state lighting standards, as well as the IES like SSL7, which is a new standard that marries the performance of an LED, in this case screw-in type, we'll call it LEDI lamp, to different types of dimmers. And the manufacturers of those products will classify their products in two different ways, so there's compatibility. Also, the Zaga organization based in Europe has come out with standardizing that light engine, I'll call it. So they are snap-in, snap-out, and type of LED things that allow us to do the kinds of quick maintenance. I'll have a bunch of those on my truck to just swap out components. So and not just the LED light engine, but the ballast or driver as well. So that stuff is coming.
Randy, if I could pick up
Please.
on that just a second. That's where I started. I talked about safety. In other words, instead of a fuse or a thermal link to shut a fixture off if it's in trouble, there is something else, and that's software. And then we got into the whole maintenance idea of what happens and how it can compensate. What I'm saying is you put these two things together and they become more affordable, to what Jim just said. So we pay for it by adding more functions to it once we put that electronic circuitry in there. This term, by the way, that is being used now is called functional safety. So it goes beyond the typical UL requirements for a lighting fixture. And of course what it means then is those requirements will have to be revised to take this kind of approach into account.
At the highest level, everything I'm hearing now just sends me back to my own belief that all this technology is, the communication technology, the color changing technology, light source efficiency, etc. It is so exciting and so, like quote unquote disruptive, as everybody loves to say. But in the end, I really believe our industry is going to be the same as it's always been. You're going to have component suppliers that are either light engine, LED drivers instead of ballast and lamps. You're going to have fixture manufacturers. You're going to have distributors, agents, specifiers. So all the disruption in the technology, I think, is going to have so many more cool things that can be done, etc.
So all the channels will still be as important in 2020 as they are now?
I believe they'll be as important or more.